I think what keeps me here, as I talked about, mostly because I believe in what we do as an industry. We're not curing cancer, understood, but we serve a really, really important purpose in what we do, right? Helping companies make risk decisions, right? Making sure that, somebody with a certain type of history of violence or, dangerous behaviors doesn't wind up in a role that could potentially harm, say, a vulnerable population, right? So what we do is important. And that to me is the most important for when I wake up in the morning. Do I believe in what I do? And I'm that person that has to believe in what I do.
Welcome to Behind the Screens, conversations with background screening pros. I'm Les Rosen, your host, and I'm excited to have you here. On this podcast, we chat with the people who know the background screening world inside and out. Executives, industry experts, legal pros, and more. We dive into their personal stories and insights to give you a real look at what's happening behind the scenes. Whether you work in the screening industry or are just curious, Behind the Screens bring you the real, unfiltered conversations from the people who make it all happen. Stick around for stories you won't hear anywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Behind the Screens, a program that is based on the idea that we're exploring the interesting people and just some of the really fantastic people who are in the background screening industry who really make things happen, who have been at it for a while, have great stories to tell, great insights, things we can all learn from. And that really applies to our guest today. We have with us a person who has been in the background screening industry for, well, I won't tell you how many years. I'll let her tell you if she chooses. She is expert in background screening. She is a member of the PBSA Board of Directors, has been very active. And in addition to all of that, in addition to being just a really nice person, hard worker, and an industry leader, she is an attorney. And that reminds me of the old joke that it's only 95% of all attorneys who give the rest of us a bad name, but she is one of the 5% that gives us a good name. And of course, it's a real pleasure to introduce Kellie O'Shea, Esquire, PHR from CSI. Kellie, with that introduction, let me say welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Les, and thank you for having me. I'm honored. The list of people that you have interviewed, I'm just honored to be among them. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm just delighted that you're willing to take a time out here to do this. So before we get to the serious questions, it looks like you're at a home office. Where are you talking to us from today?
So I am talking to you from Sharon, Mass. It's a small town about 30 miles south of Boston. And people most notably know my next town over is Foxborough, Massachusetts, where our New England Patriots play.
Okay. So the big football town. All right. That's great. So let's start where we always start. Tell us about your current role. What is it you currently do? What do you like about it? What do you find most interesting about it?
Yeah. So General Counsel for Creative Services, Inc., really known as CSI. And I handle all things compliance and legal and measuring, analyzing, balancing risk. I see myself as a support mechanism for all the different parts of the business, really supporting the business objectives. I love a couple things about what I do. First and foremost, the people that I work with are among the best people. We have a tremendous team. We all share the same passion for what we do. And everyone is just really a great culture of collaboration and innovation. And despite that, our president, Alan Scar, likes to call me the obstacle, I really do try to, do the best I can to help fulfill those objectives. There's never the same day twice, for good and for bad, right? There's some days you just want to go in there and just let me do what I need to do today. But it's, and I think I've heard you say this, when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. You're going to get something out of left field that you've never dealt with before, and you just got to break it down and figure it out. And I'm truly blessed to have such an awesome team around me at all levels to be able to do what I do.
Isn't that one of the interesting things about screening, though, that it's exactly true. You think, oh, okay, I've seen it all. I've been around for a while. What the heck? Right. It could be Could be any contract negotiations, a criminal case, a consumer dispute. It's like God knows what, or a staff issue, or it's like what? Where did this come from? All right.
Absolutely.
And speaking of great people, you have one of my longtime good friends working there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Judy Goodkind. Yep.
Yeah.
A name that needs no introduction if you're a member of PBSA, but I have been just fortunate enough to call her a mentor, colleague, most importantly, a friend. She is one of the most special people. And I think I share this sentiment that, she just is someone you just love to be around.
Yep. And we actually have a section we'll get to, like influencers and mentors. We can mention that for them, but an awardee, an honoree of the Mike Sankey Lifetime Achievement Award, and quite a substantial force in the screening industry. So,
and a lot of fun, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun. And all right. That is true. No question about it. So what was your path or your journey to get to where you are now? How did all that come about?
Yeah. So I had a kind of a windy road to where I am today. My first job I took out of college, I sold beepers out of the trunk of my car. I was going to the beach one day. My friend called and said, "Hey, they're interviewing. You want to come in for an interview?" I have my bathing suit in one hand, and, my father threatened me to go outside and rake rocks if I didn't get a job. So I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll go. I do the interview. I thought, I'll do this for a month until they fire me. And it turns out I was good at selling beepers out of the trunk of my car, and stayed there for about 5 years, won a bunch of awards. And I've said this before, when you can do that, you can pretty much do anything. So I took a couple of different sales roles.
Wait, well, let's break that down a little bit because beepers out of the back of your car. I mean, all of it sounds like, it fell off the back of a truck and ended up in your trunk. So, I'm sure it didn't happen quite that way.
All legit, yeah.
Yeah, but for some members of the audience who are vaguely familiar with the term beeper,
right?
What is it?
Right. Well, first here in Boston, we call them beepers, right? But the pagers, right? So before cell phones, right, you had the pager that you would dial the number and you would leave your number after the beep, and that person saw your number and knew they had to go to a payphone and call you back. So the beeper, right.
And if you're really sophisticated, you can have a code. You can leave number 3.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Super sophisticated people, have the code.
So we're going back to the beeper age. I mean, believe it or not, an age, along with your 8 tracks, right?
Yeah.
So you did that for 5 years. I mean, God, what a grounding! If you could sell beepers, you could do anything.
Yeah. I really just thought I'll just try it. And I did a couple of other sales roles, and I got to a point where I was like, what am I really doing? I had taken some pre-law classes in my undergrad, but that sort of went to the side. And then I'm going to date myself again. I saw an ad in the newspaper for a background screening company, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. My brother was on the police department at a local town. I thought, this is like, if I get this job, I could really fit in with my family. My parents were so proud. I was a police officer. I can do this. So I went in, I interviewed. I think I interviewed like 6 or 7 times. It was a long process to get this position. And when I was hired, I don't think I even had a title. They were like, "We like you. Come here and we'll figure it out." And so I just kind of dove in and just said, I'm just going to, whatever, like customer service, projects, whatever I could get my hands in. Because really what I needed to do is learn the ins and outs of background screening, right? And this is back in probably 2003, right? We had like a 2-page agreement back then. Like it was not easy, but it was a lot easier than it is today. And so I would, like I said, try to just get my hands in everything I could. And then I started to was pulled back into like the sales aspect of it. So onboarding, I had a really strong focus on compliance. And so I started to lean towards the sales. And I loved it, right? I truly, wholeheartedly believe in what we do as an industry. I never felt like I was selling. I felt like I'm giving you a solution. You don't even know you need this yet, right? And so I loved it. I loved working with end users, but I started to get frustrated because there would be this like legal kind of friction, right? Like, and I would go try to seek advice, and it was like, well, it depends, and liability, indemnification, all these things. I'm like, I don't understand this language. Like, what are you saying? And it so happened that my brother at the time said, hey, I'm thinking about taking the LSATs. I was like, oh, hell no, you are not taking those alone. Like, I'm not going to have mom and dad be like, the police officer and the attorney's, here, and my daughter's around here somewhere. That's not happening. So I said,
So the police officer is your
brother.
brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then your other brother was going to take
There's only one. There's only
Oh,
one.
okay. And the LSAT is I don't know if they still use it or not, but that's like like the SAT for law school, basically.
Yes.
I don't even know if that's still around anymore.
I think it depends post-COVID, not to put a pun on that, but you are not going to be the only one going to law school. So we both up and went to law school, and then I sort of transitioned from the sales side to I worked during the day, I went at night and on weekends, and it was a long journey. It was a lot of work. The only one who truly enjoyed it was my husband, Dan, because he could go golfing anytime he wanted because I was too busy doing whatever. I was working, homework, the whole bit. But, when I finished law school and then I sort of transitioned over to the legal side of things. And so I think for me, I get the driving revenue, right? Like bringing in new business. I get that aspect of it probably more than the average person that's trying to, analyze the risk.
Well, and we jumped over something that I think is really significant. You went to law school, got a law degree, took the bar, passed the bar because you're a lawyer, while you were working full time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Tell us about that, because that's like, to me, mind-boggling.
I try to forget it, actually. I mean, you sacrifice a lot. I learned how to say no, right? People would invite us to places, you have to make a decision, right? And so
Right.
it was just a period of time of my life that's what I wanted to do. And you just have to head down, focus, and get it done.
Wow.
I couldn't do it today. This many years later, I question, like, I don't know if I could do it today.
Were you able to do it a little bit part-time, or did you have to do it? How'd that work?
Yeah. So with the night students, you got 4 years instead of 3. So
Right.
you did get a little bit of an extra time. So you had to take at least 3 classes if you were going to get any type of financial.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you're knee deep into crim law, crim procedure, contracts, torts, equity, the typical first year curriculum. At the same time, family life and work life. Right.
Yeah.
And what about life? Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was a lot, but worth it.
Wow. I mean, I don't know that people really realize how impressive that is to work full time and get a law degree, and then took the bar, and working now at CSI, which I think is the only background firm that has a television series named after it. I'm not really sure, but yeah. I think it's a little different. But all right. So how long have you been doing the legal Eagle Beagle role now?
Geez, I would say it's probably at least 10 years now. So my career's kind of split, right? Like half the sales and then half the legal.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and it's really interesting when you say, when you're the person that, is always saying no. That's the classic role of an attorney, right? You're the one who says, well, this could go wrong 10 ways.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I've always said that when you get advice from an attorney, it's the exact opposite of what the business side wants to hear.
Right. Look, the hard part is, and a little bit of irony is, I find myself now when my team comes to me asking these questions and I say to them, well, it depends, right? Like that was the whole thing that sort of started this, second half of my background screening career. And it's like, I don't know how else to answer this question. You got to give me more facts, right? You got to give me more. But I do my best I can to meet the objective and just reduce that risk as much as we can.
And for the non-lawyers, I have to say the 2 words, it depends, are probably the 2 most frequently used words lawyers use, right? Because it really does. It depends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. And so now you're at CSI and you're on the board and just going like crazy, gangbusters in the screening industry.
Going like gangbusters. Yes, it's busy. It's evolving, right? I mean, there's a twist at every turn. I always say, if you think it's easy, then you don't understand it or you haven't asked the right questions. Right?
So with all of this, I mean, it's a fascinating history, and I hope people appreciate, what you did. I mean, the accomplishment. But we talked about Judy, but who were some of your mentors or influencers in your career?
So obviously, Judy, like I said, I mean, how fortunate I am to have worked alongside her for over 20 years now. From the first day that I walked into CSI, she just has always been someone I've looked up to. She's been a mentor. And like I said, most importantly to me, a friend. And in good times and in bad, Judy's always there. So obviously, and, credit to Alan Sklar, who's our president. He comes from the PI and he's born out of the PI world, right? So when we talk about details, right, the devil's in the details, he would push me and push me and push me. I am a better attorney because of him and the skills. He taught me how to really understand, ask questions, understand not just the issue, the peripheral, what's going on around it, just kind of strategically how to approach things. So I owe him so much for working with me again over 20 years. And him and I, we will, have very constructive debates, and then we can go have a beer after, right? It's never personal, but we've had some back and forth. And quite frankly, I feel like that kind of back and forth breeds kind of really good ideas and,
Right.
just good practices to really get the best out of people. So
With all your experience with the things you did
I will say, you know what, have to mention someone else too.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
So I've been with PBSA since it formed, right? So founding member with CSI, and early days, it was called best practices. I'm on this committee and I'm trying to keep my head down. I'm trying to learn. And Kevin Bachman was co-chair, and I would hear him say, Kellie O'Shea, do you want to take that? And the next thing I know, I'm co-chairing litigation with Sebastian Denal. It's like, I'm trying to stay below the radar here, Kevin. But again, he kept pulling me along saying, come on, you can do this, you can do this. So I always appreciated him getting me involved, whether I wanted to or not.
So the CRA doctor, his diagnosis was, you need to do more work.
Yes.
Right. All right. You don't have enough on your plate. Well, we'll just add to it. That's all right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. All right. So you described to me your early career, and then your transition into screening, and then the work involved in becoming an attorney and being an in-house industry attorney. I'm sure there's lots of lessons in your career. We all learn lots of lessons, but for our purposes, is there one that bubbles at the top of mind as something that you really would like to share that has really made an impact on you?
Yeah, I would say it's more like never be too scared or too important to get into the weeds, get in the trenches. It's just something that I feel like understanding what your team goes through, having them see you, not be afraid to just get in there and get your hands dirty, understand inside and out how the whole machine works together. I just feel like it was a really important lesson for me, because when you have a perception of something or you assume something, and without getting in there and really understanding it and knowing it and being just face to face with people, right? And listening, I just feel like those have served me really well.
That's such great advice. I mean, I've always done that and encourage people to actually be able to do every job. Not that you want to, but I've done my share of verifications. I've looked at plenty of records. That same sort of thing you described. Just did it all. Because if you haven't done it, you can't understand. If you can't understand it, you can't improve.
Right. And I don't know everything, right? So I need to rely on people to help me understand, right? So it has to be this kind of give and take. And it's just important to just remember that, right? Nobody goes this alone.
Yeah. That's great. That's great advice. So, you're a person who, had to get up and go to law school full time while working and everything else. Obviously could have gone into any industry, all sorts of industries could have would have been there and available for you. But you chose background screening, and you stayed in background screening. Yeah. So what is there about this particular industry that kind of kept you here?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, when I was taking the bar and studying for the bar, I actually had stepped away from CSI for, I think it was a year and a half took a different role. I was trying to make intellectual property fun. And it turns out that's really, really, really hard to do. So I'm actually what we call at CSI, I'm a boomerang, right? So I left and then I came back, right? And I just feel like I appreciate our industry so much more having stepped out of it even for a short time. I think what keeps me here, as I talked about, mostly because I believe in what we do as an industry. We're not curing cancer, understood, but we serve a really, really important purpose in what we do, right? Helping companies make risk decisions, right? Making sure that, somebody with a certain type of history of violence or, dangerous behaviors doesn't wind up in a role that could potentially harm, say, a vulnerable population, right? So what we do is important. And that to me is the most important for when I wake up in the morning. Do I believe in what I do? And I'm that person that has to believe in what I do. So that's, I think, the first thing. I think the passion that my team shares, as I talked about, makes it fun, right? Because we all have this sort of shared synchronicity of like, we all feel this, do you wake up every day and like rainbows and unicorns? No. But if you can wake up and believe in what you do, it really does make it a lot easier. So my team and I think also my colleagues at large, right? PBSA and beyond, we've worked really hard over how many decades now to get to where we are today. And I'm in it, right? I'm in it for the long haul. I mean, we've worked too hard to turn back and right. I'm in.
Yeah. And the mission has transitioned a little bit because the same passion to protect employers is now the same passion we have to protect applicants as well.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, what we do impacts consumers daily, right? And that's why we make that extra phone call or we check that look under that stone, right? Making sure that, this is the person, right? That we are treating consumers fairly and making sure that we're not a hindrance to, employment or tenancy or licensing or any of that.
Well, and that's great. And I love the fact that you were a boomerang because you more than anyone can speak to the fact that you left and said, I like the industry, right?
Yeah.
And came back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Our industry is really, in my experience from my earlier career and even just, being involved in a few other industry associations, it's really, PBSA is a special place.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. You kind of have to experience it, but it's, all these competitors that get together and like, there is power in numbers and we really do have a collective voice and quite frankly, they're great people. And I say to my friends, oh, I'm going to a conference that, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh no, don't be sorry. I'm going to a PBSA conference. You get excited. You get excited to see people. Sessions are great. It's all around just a wonderful association.
You mentioned how Calvin managed to pull a Mark Twain on you or Huckleberry Finn and say, hey, why don't you paint the fence, right? Yeah. And so, all right.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved and how did you evolve and what are you doing now?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, today I sit on the board of directors. I'm the liaison to government relations. Like I said, I started from the very beginning and working on what was then called best practices, now industry practices, just task forces, papers. I've had the opportunity to put my name on a number of different things, presentations at the mid-years, annuals. I'd love to just, share what I can as far as helping other people. I love Advocacy Day. Jamie Tucker, I'm always the one. Here, Angie. I just love it. I love being able to help shape. And help shape some of this legislation to the extent that we can, just putting your fingerprint on something. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? So you're not going to walk into, a congressional office and hey, oh, right. Yeah, we'll totally get on board. Like, it does take time and it takes energy and effort, but it's really fun as you look back to see, wow, like we made a difference there. Like we changed this. So I love it. And PBSA, both personally, professionally, has given me just so much. And my hope is that, my time on the board of directors, if I could just give back even a portion of what it's done for me, then that's what I hope to do.
Well, and your participation on committees and papers, you've done a lot of giving back, and so that's very, very, very impressive. For those who may not have gone to Advocacy Day, tell us about that. What do you do? Why is that fun? What's your comes to mind about that?
Yeah. So the first time I went, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. Right. So here we're going into Senator's office and we're going to talk to them about, whatever our initiatives are that year. And they do a great job prepping you. JB Tucker, his team, you know what you're talking about when you go in there. They give you great materials, but the first time it's terrifying. And then the second time you do it, it's a little easier. But you get up. Well, we used to get up at the crack of dawn and get on a bus. Now we have a little more flexibility with Ubers and whatnot. You kind of can get yourself there. So if your first meeting is not till 11, you're not sitting in the cafeteria from, 8 to 11. Finding your way around the Capitol is that's a story for another day. But it really is an opportunity to educate stakeholders, right, on the legislative side who often don't necessarily understand the consent-based background checks, right? And I know this word has come up a lot in these podcasts, but the unintended consequences of somebody who writes a legislation and we're swept in and they just don't know. Sometimes maybe they don't care, but they don't know that the way this is written, so it's our job to bring it to their attention. And obviously our government relations committee does a fabulous job on this, but Advocacy Day per se is, I feel like, one of the greatest experiences that you can have, connected to any conference that you'll go to. So.
And I'll add to that because you're really in the bowels of the government. Oftentimes you're talking to staffers and you realize, the whole government is run by a bunch of 23-year-olds from Georgetown. But right, but you're actually in these offices, these House and Senate offices, and you're the quote Hamilton. This is the room where it happens, and you're there.
Yeah, it is. There's a piece that it's like, whoa. You get to the Capitol and it's like, it's where it happens. And just to be a part of it is really great.
Yeah. And just a couple of things. You mentioned Jamie Tucker, just so everyone knows who he is, just tell us.
So Jamie Tucker is our lobbyist on the federal side from Aiken Gump. And, him and his team do really a fantastic job. They organize this Advocacy Day every year and I enjoy it a lot.
And then you go primarily, you're assigned, they try to assign you to your own state. And you're with the teams, you're not by yourself.
Yeah, no,
so it's not scary.
That's a really good point. I probably just scared the crap out of a bunch of people who are thinking about doing Advocacy Day. No. So yes, you want to meet with constituents. So you're your state, but you go with a team. You have a team captain, right? You're not. This is not a go it alone situation. You go in, you practice, you meet the day before at the prep meeting, right? You're well versed, and I've been a team captain now for a few years, and I'll give people the option, right? Like, Dave, you can speak, you can not speak, you can jump in during the conversation if there's something relevant you want to add. So I like to make sure, especially first timers, I just remember how it can be nerve wracking. And so you can be the note taker, it depends on where they're at. And it's, you'll go around the different buildings and you'll have I've had 5 meetings in a day, just the different offices. And again, let's say these are the 3 objectives we want to talk to this office about.
Right. And I think it's really key because you go a couple of times and you become the team captain. So you're the person that breaks the ice. So if you're new and this is your first time doing this, you're not expected to break the ice. You have someone who's taking the lead.
Right.
Yeah. In my case, it's usually the team captain's job to shut me up. But, all right, Les, that's enough. All right. And oh, that's great. So, how many of the advocacy days do you think you've been to roughly?
Oh, 8,
Wow,
9,
that's great.
at least. Yeah, I'd have to go
Yeah,
back. I mean, at least.
yeah. And it doesn't get boring. I mean, just being in the Capitol, and it's just, I mean, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And sometimes you actually talk to a representative or a senator might pop in for some reason.
Yeah, I've had one
Not just
pop
this.
in, but I've never had a sit down. But, again, you sort of figure out, who's in
Right,
charge of the policy, and that's really
right.
who you want to meet with, right?
Because the staff does the work anyway, right?
Right. You want to meet with the influencer.
Yeah. No, we kind of glossed over it, but as I recall, when you're on the board, each board member has a liaisons committee, and they gave you government relations, which I personally think is the singular most difficult job. Right? Congratulations. So, tell us about that?
Yeah, so really I sit on a lot of the GR meetings, right? There's several different ones, and just make sure that I'm up to date and any information that needs to flow back and forth. I mean, I think it's a pretty collaborative, honestly, I can't really take credit here. It is a pretty collaborative effort as far as the board and GR, but it's still new to me. I'm still in my learning, taking it all in, figuring it out phase.
So, how long is your board term? When do you get off for good behavior?
Yeah, right. So I'm 1 year into, I believe, a 2-year term. I think it's been about 11 months or so.
Okay.
Again, just soaking in everything, kind of like, right back where I started, right? Get in, get it as involved as you can, get your hands in different things and learn as much as you can and see where you can go.
I mean, it's a great experience. You make friends for life, but it's work. It's a time bandit. I mean,
It is, and look, it's rewarding, right? Like law school, it's worth it. But yeah, there's days where you've had a full day and then you have a little more, but it's a sacrifice that's worth it. And again, those are the less of the days, right? But just,
right. Yeah.
there's definitely work, but I would not let anybody who's thinking about it, I would not let that dissuade you from getting involved.
Yeah. And I've said this before, you may have heard it, but PBSA is fundamentally a meritocracy. I mean, no one gets appointed because of who they know or their friends. Everyone who's in any position, they got there because they earned it. And then they worked and showed leadership, and they did what you did.
Yeah.
They volunteered and went for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I'm honored that I'm even in this position. Like I said, if I can give back a portion of what I have gotten from PBSA over the past few decades, then that's my goal.
Well, this has been interesting. But I think we're going to pivot a little bit. One more question about background screening careers, and then we're going to go into things that are maybe a little bit more fun. Thinking back with everything you have done, you just have a boatload of achievements and accomplishments that are just so impressive. But is there one that comes to mind that brings a smile to your face and says, God, I did that, right? Or I got that done, or we got that done, or my team got it done, whatever?
I feel like my proudest moment is coming. And it's going to be on a GR call where I say something so profound and smart that Chris Lemons and Todd Higgy just stop and they start clapping, right? And they're like, mic drop. And I'm like, there it is. It's going to happen.
It is. All right.
It hasn't happened yet, Les, but that is going to be a proud moment for me, right? When they're like,
That's the
thank
best
you,
answer
Kellie.
I've heard. You're in search of that proud moment. You're not standing on your laurels.
No,
All right.
no. But and all, yeah, I'm kidding, not kidding. But again, I think being invited onto the board has been a huge, I feel like, accomplishment for me, and I'm proud that my colleagues have the trust and the faith in me to be able to do this. So that is just something that I will have forever. And like I said, hopefully work to pay that back. I think a cool moment in my life is I had the opportunity to get sworn into the United States Supreme Court.
Wow.
And I sat, 30 feet from justices. RBG was right there. and was sworn in. And it was a moment of, again, you're in the Capitol, you're in the Supreme Court. It just was like a moment that you soak it in.
Wow.
Now, will I ever argue in the United States Supreme Court? Probably not, but I could. But I could. But I will tell you that I think as far as accomplishments for me personally, and I feel like I have to share this because it's a testament to my colleagues in the industry, is the network of people that I have been so lucky to surround myself with, I think is my greatest accomplishment. I just ever so grateful that I can pick up the phone, someone can pick up the phone and call me. As I said before, not just with Judy, but with others, like in good times and in bad. I lost my mom earlier this year.
Oh, sorry.
And the outpouring of support from my friends, my family, my PBSA family was nothing short of incredible. And I just so appreciated that, right? Because, and I've heard you say there's more to life than work, right? And that to me sends such a huge message about who is your community, who is your network. And then I just feel like I have one of the greatest that you can have.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, going and just to round out the discussion, going back a little bit to your mic drop moment, you mentioned the two people you wanted to break out into applause were who again?
Oh, Chris Lemons. I'll bring out a few. Chris Lemons, Todd Higgy, Jamie Tucker is also on those. Kevin Horrible, who am I missing? Rory Bogdan, right? So this GR,
right?
That my proudest moment will be when they say, Kellie, yes.
They all stand up and give you a standing ovation. All right. And if you left any names out, it's just because people, even at the Oscars, people leave names out. So, that's great. What a great story! I love the mic drop moment and everything else you just described. Well, let's pivot a little bit because we want to not take up your entire day. But let's leave the wild, wonderful, wacky world of background screening for a while. And let's talk about life beyond screening. What do you wish to share in terms of hobbies or interests or things you do for fun?
Sure.
Outside of the 1 or 2 hours a month that you have of free time.
Yeah. Don't worry, I find my free time. So most recently, I have picked up going to meat raffles, courtesy of Kellie O'Shea. She has brought up this concept at one of the conferences, and it's been a big hit. So I have gone to a few meat raffles, and I have actually called Kellie and said, I think the meat raffles in Minnesota are different than they are here in Massachusetts, because they must be different. So we enjoyed a couple of those. But I think two things my husband and I love to do is, number one, boat. We have a boat. We call it float therapy, right? You finish work, although he's retired now, so he boats a lot more. But, we might be on a sunrise coffee cruise. We might be on a midday, let's go out and do a circle around the lake. Let's go do a midnight moonlight cruise. Anytime we can get on that boat. We only have 7 good months here in Massachusetts. So we do spend a lot of time on the boat. And it's not a big boat, just on a lake, just a little boat. And we just love it. And we get out.
That's all you need. As long as you're on top of the water and not in it, you're fine.
Although,
what lake? If I can ask.
It's a small lake. It's here in Sharon. It's Lake Massapog. And it's a small lake, and we literally can just do circles. But, you can have a day, and you're just, this, and you get out there in 10 minutes on being on that water. It does something, right? And that's why we call it float therapy.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. I love it. And I love meat raffle. I tell you, Kellie has been on the show earlier, and she mentioned meat raffles.
Did she mention?
Yeah. My brain went like, my brain did not connect. I go, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're pulling my leg. She assured me, and I took her word for it. And now it's been confirmed by 2 attorneys, no less, that there are such a things as meat raffles. So
yes.
I believe it now.
Yes. Yeah.
No lobster raffles?
No lobster raffles. No. Not that I've been to. I've not heard of one, but maybe I'll look that up. But the other thing is, if Dan and I are not on the boat, we love to travel. We go all over the place. In fact, the only state in the contiguous United States that I haven't been to is North Dakota. So I have to work my way out there. So if anyone has any good recommendations of where I go in North Dakota, I will take them.
Wow. North Dakota. You haven't made it to the Badlands yet, or
I did the Badlands, but it's
you did the Southern Badlands.
Yeah.
You did South Dakota.
Yeah.
So I assume North Dakota is just north of South Dakota, and
Yes.
then probably you go South Dakota and you go north, and there you are.
Yeah. 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 I just said I think we just turned and we didn't go. And so, I need that we have that big puzzle, the map of the United States, and there's
Right. Yeah,
one puzzle piece, that and Alaska. I have to make it to Alaska. Been to Hawaii, but I got to get that puzzle piece in there.
So you have North Dakota, Alaska, and Hawaii.
No, I've been to Hawaii.
Oh, okay, so you got Hawaii. Okay, and you got Alaska.
Not Alaska. Okay. So contiguous still.
Oh, contiguous, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I still need to get to Hawaii.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, North Dakota, I think wagon trains leave every so often to go there, so it can't be that hard.
I don't think I actually looked at flights. I don't think there's a direct flight from Boston. So I'll have to figure that out.
Where would you go?
Open to suggestions.
All right. Yes, maybe Montana and then drive over the Cascades. I don't know. I have to take a look at it. At any rate, well, there you go. There you have a life goal. North Dakota is in your future.
Yes.
ND.
Yes.
Notre Dame or North Dakota, whatever it stands for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So if they ever give you any vacation time, you know where to go.
Yes.
Right. And now we're going to play. We're getting towards the end of our time here, but we're going to play fun facts.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you something about yourself that is people probably don't know about you, and that once they do know about you, you may regret having said it because at the next conference, people might bring it up.
Right. This will come out after Anaheim, I hope. So let's see. Well, so here's interesting. And some people may know this already, but I love to travel. I have a terrible, terrible fear of flying.
Oh.
Right. Which makes it hard to travel. So I'll tell you back in, I don't even remember. It was in Denver, whatever year it was. It was probably 15 years ago. I was on a panel discussion. Pam Devada was moderating, and it was in Denver. And I was in a no-fly mode. Like I went through a period of my life where I did not fly. The fear was so bad. So I convinced Dan to get on the Amtrak train and take the train to Denver with me. We got our...
Which actually sounds fun.
It was amazing. It was the best Delmonico steak I have had to date. We had our own room, turn down service. And he will tell you that it was probably one of the best trips. Like we just had a really great time. We stopped in Chicago on St. Patrick's Day, got off. We had a 4 or 5 hour layover, got back on the train,
You saw the Green River and...
Yes. So,
oh, that's fantastic. That's
I do fly.
I think at the Gaylord. That's right. It was at the Gaylord outside of Denver or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's just great.
Into Denver.
So I can understand a fear of flying because I also have a healthy respect for the law of gravity, and in my mind, theoretically, airplanes shouldn't fly, but they do. So what do I know? All right. So that's really interesting. So this show will, I think, air after PBSA in Anaheim. But are you going to come to Anaheim by train or?
Nope. I'm gonna fly. I already have my tickets. Oh. Yes. I've learned to get to the airport early, find the closest bar to my gate, and liquid courage can go a long way when I get on that plane. So.
Well, the best airline is Air Tito's.
Yes. Yeah. I fly it often. So I'm freaking fly.
Right. Or Air Bombay Sapphire. I mean, whatever your choice is.
Whatever it takes.
And that's your best guarantee that when you get on the plane, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So your fear of flying has not kept you, however, from dipping your toes in all 50 or 40 in the 48 contiguous states.
Yes. And I actually just flew to Dubai last November. And
wow.
That was a trip. It was on my mom's bucket list. And what am I going to do? Right? Yes.
Oh, wow.
That was a challenge, but I did it. So.
Oh, good for you. How was Dubai? I've not made that.
It's
one
amazing.
place I haven't been.
It's amazing. Its tagline is, if you know, you go.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Was there a conference there, or you just
No,
was just a bucket list? Just time to go.
Bucket list. I want to do it. I'm like, why? She's like, why not? I'm like,
All right.
okay. It's going to take a lot of TMs.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you have to say, okay, Dubai, North Dakota, okay, Dubai.
Oh, it's remarkable. I mean, I would tell anyone if you get the opportunity to,
Yeah.
it's worth the trip.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great, Kellie O'Shea, the world traveler.
Right.
That's right. Despite fear of, right. I might add a healthy fear of flying. It's like, it's not intuitive. Right. So we have our fun fact. And now every conference you ever go to, people are going to ask you, how'd you get here?
Yeah, right.
Did
you drive? Did you fly?
Right. Was this Air Amtrak or what?
Yeah.
Right. So given your experience and your time in the industry and everything that you've seen and done and endured and participated in, my favorite question is your advice to newcomers, which I broadly define as, someone not maybe entering the industry on any level. I mean, it could be a person, this is their first job. They're out of college and they're a beginning verifier. Because my theory is you can be a beginning verifier and still join a committee and find a career path that would be unbelievable. So what's your take on that? What's your observation?
Yeah, so I think it's a 3-point answer. My first question is, are you sure? Are you sure? But yes, no, come on in. The water's perfect, right? And like I said, background screening, we do serve a really important purpose. But I would say to a newcomer, be patient. Don't be afraid to learn, and don't go it alone, right? There are great resources, PBSA being one of the greatest resources you can have in this industry. So get involved. And I would say, just for me personally, one of the challenges is, or one of the things I struggled with is understanding the difference between being frustrated and being challenged. Because we're as I said earlier, the devil's in the details here. And so, you might ask the same question, slightly different, and you get different answers. And I used to get really frustrated with that. But when you look back, you realize these were just challenges that, led you to where you are. So don't be frustrated. Just understand, the difference between that. And you have to be patient. You have to do this for a while for things to kind of like come together and sort of make sense for all the different parts. And mostly don't go it alone. There's so many wonderful people that are willing to help those that are looking for it. And so reach out. I'm happy to talk with anyone at any time. I love to collaborate. So reach out. Happy to help.
Well, that's fantastic. And it's true. People find their niche, their group, the people that they work with, and you form friends, and not just conference friends, but friends, friends for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, yeah. Well, this has just been wonderful talking to you. And before we conclude, is there anything I haven't asked you that if I knew what I was doing, I would have?
No, I think we're good.
So let me turn it over to you. It's one of the customs of our podcast is I always give the guest the last word. So is there any closing thoughts? Anything else you'd like to add or share? The floor is yours.
I think I would like to thank the people that have been doing this for a long time, right? Past chairs, yourself included, right? The people who really pioneered our association to what it is today. We have what we call shout outs at CSI. So, where we're just appreciate and thank people for what they do. So shout out to all the past chairs, to Melissa Sorensen, the executive director, Michelle LeBlanc, that are in it every day. And to the people doing the work, right? The people in the task force, people writing the papers, the people that are like hands-on, like just shout out, keep doing it. Right? I mean, think about where we are today versus when we first started. And it's because of all these people that have laid the way and the people that continue the torch today. So thank you to everyone. I appreciate it as a member.
That's a great observation. It's really kind of the Nike philosophy, just do it. I think there's been just a whole lot of people who on so many levels just did it and just did so many things. So it was incredible. Kellie, this is fantastic. I really appreciate your time with us today. I usually tell people we go about 30 minutes. Unless you want to go longer, we have gone longer, and every minute of it has been worth it. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Les. And now I have to go pack because I'm heading to Toronto tomorrow. So, continuing.
That's right. So by the time this airs, you will have been to PBSA Canada and the Toronto meeting.
Yes.
And then the PBSA Anaheim.
That's right.
And of course, that begs the question, are you flying or walking?
I'm actually driving to Toronto.
Okay, that you can do from where you are. That is very doable.
Yeah. It's a long ride, but it's all right. Listen to some
Well,
more
ladies and gentlemen,
podcasts.
it has been an absolute pleasure to have with us today Kellie O'Shea, attorney at law, one of the good ones, one of the 5% that do give the rest of us a good name. And thank you for the observations and sharing so many things with us. Learned things about you and about screening that I had no idea before. So that's why this has been very educational for me as well. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Les. Like I said, I'm just honored to be included.
Well, it's an honor to have you here as well. So I really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up another episode of Behind the Screens, featuring our guest, Kellie O'Shea, attorney at law extraordinaire, member of PBSA, and, well, everything else you heard about her. And stay tuned. We will have future episodes. I want to add, in case I didn't, that we are sponsored by Barry Nixon, our good friend at the Pre-Employment Directory and the Background Buzz. So I suggest you read that to keep up with things. And please stay tuned for more podcasts that will be coming your way. We're just about ready to wrap up 2025. We'll have a few more in 2026, maybe not once a week, maybe once a month, right? Because I'm getting lazier. But anyway, Kellie, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Les.
Take care. All right, that was yet another wonderful conversation with a background screening pro. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an update. And hey, if you got a moment, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It really helps get the word out. For more info or to catch up on past episodes, or to make suggestions or to suggest possible future guests, head over to our website. Once again, this is your host, Les Rosen, and it's been a pleasure to bring you another episode. See you on the next episode. Thanks.